Everyone from David Griffin to Larry Nance Jr. is building up Zion Williamson, but do all of these words matter? And don't worry about Jordan Hawkins and his struggles in Summer League because he's doing much more than you realize. It's Friday's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pelicans, your daily New Orleans Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another edition of Locked On Pelicans, the daily podcast covering your favorite team, the New Orleans Pelicans and NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, available wherever you get your podcast and available right here on YouTube. I'm your host, Pelicans Insider, credential member of the media, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter. Here with y'all on this Friday, right after the Pelicans beat the Charlotte Hornets 89-83 to improve to 3-1 in Summer League. And ooh, what a weird game. Charlotte barely scored in the first quarter, and it was kind of hilarious before making a run, getting it to a one-point game, but the Pelicans held on. The final score doesn't ultimately matter. In Summer League, you look at performances from guys. And if you look at the box score of this game, well, Jordan Hawkins, 2 of 13 from the field. That's not good, right? Sure. But he's doing more than you realize. We'll talk about him in the second segment of today's show. But I want to start off with comments more on Zion Williamson because you're starting to see a theme here, and I think that's important. And, of course, thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We're here Monday through Friday for y'all, breaking down everything you want to know about this Pelicans squad. We're here every single day, and I hope you are. I hope you're an everydayer of Locked On Pelicans. If you're not, what's stopping you? Listen Monday through Friday. Or if you listen one day a week, listen to 2 days a week. We even do the live shows and everything here. We'll have more to come and recap Summer League in next week's show before dropping to 3 days a week. So let's get into the comments around Zion Williamson because you're seeing a theme. You know, I've been saying now this whole week that it does feel like there seems to be a mentality change in Zion Williamson. And David Griffin was on a podcast, I don't have it in front of me here, the other day saying, you know, it really looks like Zion, you know, is starting to figure some things out. You know, it said, when you're as talented as he is and you can just get out of bed and do your thing, well, then, you know, it means maybe you don't need to work as hard, right? You know, what he said is it's challenging when you wake up bigger, faster, stronger than everyone to understand what it is you need to do these things for the longevity. You know, and he goes on to say that Zion realizes that truth now. You know, you had Jay Williams, who honestly is probably giving you some info from Trajan Langdon, the general manager of the Pelicans, based on who he said it came from, given, you know, they played together and are close from time at Duke, and basically said that Zion loves basketball, loves playing basketball, but doesn't love putting in the work to be a professional. You know, that's a pretty damning statement, though. Honestly, does that surprise you? Does that seem unreasonable? I don't think so. But it sounds like that light bulb went off for Zion Williamson. And you heard Larry Nance Jr. talking about it on the Low Post podcast the other day as well. Said Zion's kind of putting in the work, and maybe Zion hasn't done all the things that he needed to do in the past. But now he is doing that. He has been doing that this summer. And it seems like, again, something has just clicked. And that's the vibe that I'm getting from talking to people in and around the organization. Zion seems a little bit different for whatever reason, you know, and you can argue that maybe he should have had these things click before, that he should have been listening to some of these people before. He didn't. There's nothing you can really do about it. You can just kind of, in a sense, hope for the best going forward. But it sounds like we are getting some of the best going forward. Everyone seems to be on the same page in terms of what they are saying. Everyone is saying they are on the same, you know, the same exact thing. He's made mistakes. He's working on fixing them right now, and he's doing all the things that you need. And basically, the light bulb has gone off. The epiphany has happened, right? He had that eureka moment. He's even said that when he was on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, and that's what we talked about on the show 2 days ago. We had the live show yesterday. I hope you joined. So if he's starting to figure that out and he's putting it all together, and that is the type of stuff that's going to help him stay on the court. I love hearing this in the offseason. I love hearing this. And, I tend to, a lot of the time, take people at face value. Why not? I don't want to just assume people are always lying. Maybe that makes me naive. So I buy all of this. If you're doing real or fake, which is what I do every Wednesday on the Locked On NBA podcast, you should make that your second listen today. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We play a game of real or fake. There's like a statement out there or something and you go real or fake. If the question is Zion Williamson has a new mentality, I say it's real. Many of you might say fake. A lot of people have tweeted that at me. A lot of y'all have DM'd that at me. I've seen the skepticism around, is Zion actually putting it all together? Is this just kind of like who he is? And, he's just saying all of it and it's not all going to happen. I understand that. And honestly, I can't say that you are wrong for being skeptical about some of this. All of these words are great. Everyone building up Zion Williamson is great. But what is a teammate going to do? Of course he's going to build them up. He's not going to throw anyone under the bus in that kind of sense. Maybe he will do it cryptically in another way. What is the vice president of basketball operations of the team going to say? Bad things on the record on a podcast where people are watching live at Summer League? Not a chance. Even the GM of the team, might say that anonymously, sourced, not with his name behind it, or might say the bad things, without his name behind it. But if you were to go and ask Trajan Langdon, you see him at Summer League, you see him walking around New Orleans, he's going to give you a glowing rave review about Zion Williamson. So they all would be doing this, even if it wasn't true. But we're going to find out this year. We are going to find out this year. If he stays healthy, if he's out there on the court, we don't need to worry about any of this anymore. If he doesn't, then it's all talk, and they're probably going to look to really change things with this franchise. You've got to back up all of these words that are being said about you, Zion, with actions, meaning you're doing the work, meaning that you're going to come into the season in incredible shape, which he's done before. So I know he's capable of doing that. But are you going to handle things well during the regular season? Are you going to be a slightly better teammate than you've been in the past? Are you going to attend the off-season workouts too? Because that seems to be an important thing and something the guys all like doing. So those are the type of things that we need to start seeing. You got to play more than 65 games if you're him, right? If he can do all of that, all of this talk immediately goes away and we're like, oh yeah, we can say he turned a corner. Right now we're hoping he turned the corner. You've got to show it with actions though. So this talk's great, but ultimately it doesn't mean anything unless, the actions and the results follow, I guess, this process is a way you could put it. One guy who does need to stick with the process is Jordan Hawkins. Struggled in the win over the Charlotte Hornets, but you should not worry about him. There's no need to freak out. And I will tell you why coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Before we do that, though, today's episode, I'm excited to tell you about Birddogs. I'm actually wearing a pair of them right now. And I wear my Birddogs all the time because, frankly, Birddogs make me look good, and they're going to make you look good, too. The Birddogs stretch khaki short is designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and your leg, and it gives your legs just like a sculpted look. You want it to not look too baggy, too tight, anything like that. Kind of put them in there, give it the right type of stretch and everything with their cloud knit fabric that they have. It looks just like khaki. People are going to think you're in way more expensive pair of shorts than you're actually wearing. You can move around in them. They're just honestly perfect. And I have a number of pairs. I have the khaki short. I have a pair in light blue that are lined with like a pop of color. They got some coral in there that makes them look really great. And they're this just breathable material that you can use for everything, whether you're working on a podcast studio, whether you're going to happy hour with your friends, whether you're jumping in a pool because they're so light they're going to dry off really fast. You can use them as like pool shorts or something like that. And look, with the anti-stink sweat wicking fabric, it's going to keep you cool and dry all day long. So go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or enter promo code LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti style tumbler. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or promo code LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We're here Monday through Friday. No one else comes to you like this. It's the reason we're the #1 Pelicans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you're an everydayer, let me know in the comments down below on YouTube. Those are the two best ways to support the channel. Keep it free in 5 days a week for y'all. There's no Locked On Pelicans Plus. We don't ask for money or anything like that. I just want you to watch or listen on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, and comment down below on YouTube. So let's switch gears to Summer League. We can take a break from the Zion Williamson talk here a little bit. The Pelicans getting a kind of weird 89-83 win over the Charlotte Hornets, running them out in the first quarter, and then things kind of falling apart, throughout the rest of some of the game. Kind of the fourth quarter, kind of really the second quarter. End score doesn't matter. Like Summer League, I don't want to say Summer League doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter in a way that some of y'all really seem to think it does. I had people tweeting at me, and I don't want to overreact to a small vocal minority here, that Jordan Hawkins looks terrible, that Jordan Hawkins is a bust after 4 Summer League games, where the Pelicans, by the way, are 3-1. Hawkins did struggle in this one. 9 points, 2 of 13 from the field. That's 15.4%. 1 of 6 from 3, but he did have 8 rebounds, just 2 turnovers. Some of those numbers are okay there. So I get why people are freaking out a little bit. He was a shooter, right? Like he was brought in to be a 3-point shooter, and he's not shooting well. You can look at his shooting percentage, which we aren't even going to pull up from Summer League, and try and point to that and try and tell you it's something. I'm going to tell you right now, his struggles in Summer League mean 0. Brandon Ingram struggled in the beginning of his Summer League tenure, but he healed. Of the Pelicans, shot terribly from 3 when he played Summer League for New Orleans. And guess what? Both those guys are pretty good NBA players. Buddy Hield is one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. You do not need to read too much into the results of Summer League. What you want to do is look at the process. I actually think Hawkins has been taking good 3-pointers. I think his form looks good. I think his mechanics look good. I like some of the things that he's done out there when it comes to the shooting. A lot of his shots have gone in and out, and when you're taking so few attempts and the sample sizes are so small, one make can swing your numbers from looking terrible to looking good, so you just can't read into it. There's a reason, if you're a new listener to the show or if you've been with me for a while, I talk about sample size in this. You need to have a large enough sample size, right? It's like the statistics thing you took in high school that you've probably forgotten about. Only reason I know, because I cover the NBA here. And you need a large enough sample size to be able to trust the numbers because, in small doses, those numbers are just swingy, right? One make jumps your percentage from 25% to 45%. You look at one of those and it's like, that's a terrible number. Another one's a good number, say for 3-point shooting, but the difference is just one make. So what's right, what isn't? It's you don't pay attention to that because the sample size is too small. We don't have a large enough sample size of results to declare anything about Jordan Hawkins just yet. Summer League is far more, and I said this on our Summer League preview show that I did here, this is why you should be an everydayer, that you're looking more at the eye test. I like the way he moves out there. He plays with a much more physicality than I was expecting from him. The court awareness and the basketball IQ that he possesses jumps out at you. He picks his spots to shoot threes. He picks his time to drive and attack the basket in a way that I didn't expect from him. This is a guy that has a really good feel for the game, and it jumps off the screen at you when you're watching him play. He's been a good, strong team rebounder too. 8 rebounds in this game. You're looking at him doing NBA things, and that's what I want to see out of him. You miss your shots, you miss your shots. That happens. It's going to happen to everybody. Even Zion has games where he misses shots. You want to look at him doing all of the things that are going to make him succeed in the NBA, and I believe he is doing those. He's a better defender than I was expecting. He's impressed me a lot. The shots will happen. He's a good enough shooter. We know that. The shots will fall. They might not be falling right now, but you're going to see a period of time at the NBA level during next season when the Pelicans need him, and he will deliver. There also might be times that he misses, and that's okay too. This is a guy that clearly is showing us that he belongs in the NBA, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do when he has better players around him. Don't forget, most of the guys you're playing with on Summer League are look, they're not good. Look, Jalen Crutcher, 9 points, cool. So what? He's not going to be on the team. Landers Nolly going 1 of 5, 3 points. Like, he's going to be in the G League next year at best. You see a lot of those sorts of things. You can't get a strong read on it. You want to just look at them doing traits, things, and he is doing that. Same goes for EJ Liddell, by the way. EJ Liddell had 11 points on 4 of 7 shooting here. I should also mention, I said Hawkins plays with that like physicality, 4 of 5 from the free throw line. He was getting fouled. He was drawing fouls. That's an NBA skill. Shows there's more to his game than just the 3-point shooting. EJ Liddell, 11 points on 4 of 7 shooting was great. 4 rebounds. You see some Julius Randle in his game, I think. That's really what I saw when he was playing. When he starts getting downhill and attacking, does look a little bit like Julius Randle, and I love that kind of player. It's similar-ish to Zion without being as good as Zion. He's got some nice moves in the interior. He can dance around a little bit. He's got very good body control, I think. And when he gets that full head of steam, he's really tough to stop. Playing downhill is the way to use him, not kind of posting up and doing other things, kind of acting like a perimeter player at times. But defensively, he's active. He is very, very active. Contesting shots, forcing guys to change their shot mechanics mid-motion, even if he's not doing like active contests and things like that. He's got a spot in the NBA. There's a reason we all wanted to see him. Again, he hasn't played competitive basketball in a year. What we're seeing from him is impressive. And again, showing us NBA traits, knowing that he's going to be on the roster, so he's going to get minutes at times. This is what you want to see from him. They've been good. Other guys have been good too. I thought Dereon Seabron has been really good. He had another 20-point game. Dyson Daniels filled it up. Let's look at both of their games coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On Pelicans. Before we get to that, though, today's episode of Locked On Pelicans is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer League might be winding down, so it's just time to take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel, and you get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. It's free money. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. I love the app. It's just laid out great. You click the different categories. You see the bets. They even show you popular bets so you can see what others are getting in on. And when you win, you get paid instantly. So there's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball and the official sports betting partner of Locked On. And thank you for making Locked On Pelicans your first listen today and every day. We're going to be back. We're going to be with y'all for at least another week or two, going Monday through Friday before I drop it down. But it's getting a little bit slower, so if you've got topics you want to hear, let me know in the comments down below on YouTube. I read all of them. Best way to interact with me right now, because who knows if Twitter's working today. So if you want to support the channel, want to get your question maybe answered on the show, never miss a live show either, subscribe on YouTube and comment down below on YouTube. And if you listen 2 days a week, 3 days a week, jump it up to 5 days a week. Become an everydayer of Locked On Pelicans. I love when people come up to me in person. This happened over the weekend, actually, or even just on Twitter or in the comments telling me you're an everydayer. So if you're an everydayer, comment. Love all of that stuff. I appreciate y'all being here, whether you're a new listener or you've been with me for a while. And Pelicans are going to be fun this year. I'm excited to be there with y'all when it comes to all of that. So let's look at 2 of the other guys that have done well. And look, these are the players that matter. It's going to be Dyson Daniels, Jordan Hawkins, and EJ Liddell because they're on the roster next year. You also have Dereon Seabron, who maybe could be. He's on a 2-way deal. Will the Pelicans get him some minutes? Will they not? He's been more. He had a rough first game. But then he's become a little bit more consistent. 20 points in this one on 9 of 13 shooting. He just gets downhill and attacks pretty relentlessly. He knows he's faster than most other players out there. He knows that he's got good size and height, and no one can really kind of contest him at the rim when you're moving like that. To have 2 super efficient games in Summer League as he's had is what you want to see out of him. The Pelicans don't have a guard that plays like that. That's not CJ's game. That's not quite Jose Alvarado's game. That's certainly not Hawkins' game. It's a little bit of Dyson Daniels' game, but he does other things well too. This is a role that Seabron can carve out for him, just being that aggressive guard that plays from the perimeter, plays downhill, helps the team get into the bonus, helps the team shoot free throws, and that's a really important thing. The Pelicans, from the free throw line, 32 attempts compared to just 18 for Charlotte. And a lot of that is guys like Dereon Seabron playing downhill, attacking. That's what you want to see out of him. If that's your skill, do it, my man. Like, go do and play to the best of your ability. And if that is your best ability, lean into that until people stop it. And if they don't, cool, keep doing it. There's no reason to quit. Same for Dyson Daniels. He was aggressive in this one. That's the one thing that I've really seen from him is there's a confidence to his game right now. Even when he's not making three-pointers or not making jumpers, he doesn't get rattled. He still remains pretty confident. He shot 3 of 7, okay? 0 for 2 from 3, like, not ideal. He hasn't shot the 3 ball well, but we knew his three-point shooting. We knew the jump shot was always going to be a work in progress for him. What we're seeing from him is he's not rattled. Okay, can't make jumpers? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive. I'm going to be stronger than you. I'm going to be quicker than you, and I'm going to show you both of those things. And when I beat you, you can either let me score at the rim or you can foul me. And they fouled him in this one. 12 free throw attempts. Because no one could stop him, so they had to resort to doing that. On a team with Zion Williamson, who draws fouls like crazy, on a team with Brandon Ingram, who likes to get to the line, that's awesome. That's awesome. That fits right in. Even if he's out there drawing fouls, if he can do this at the NBA level, and again, there's a confidence to his game, and he is a big, strong, fast guard. He'll help Zion get to the line quicker. Instead of Zion getting fouled and it being a sideline, out-of-bounds play, he's just going to go to the line, because the team's going to be in the bonus. I like that confidence in him. That confidence is also showing up by being so aggressive that he's forcing the defense to rotate over. He beats his man. Someone needs to come over and try and contest him at the rim, which means someone is open. 5 assists for Dyson Daniels. You're seeing what you want to see from him offensively. We'd like to see the shooting too, but I don't expect that. I don't think that was going to be a thing. He's doing everything else that you've wanted to see from him. It's summer league. Don't read too much into it, but it's better than not doing it, especially for a second-year guy when you need to act like you're better than the rest of the people that you're playing against. 16 points on 7 shot attempts is fantastic efficiency. Defensively, he's a monster. 3 steals. We've seen what he does on that side. The people he's playing against have no chance against him when he is just doing his thing defensively. He's very good. He also rebounds pretty well, too. I've been happy with what we've seen from the team. We'll do a show next week looking at the offense from it because, the general design of the offense is not great, but it's also summer league, and I don't know how much to read into that. I'm going to try and ask a couple people about that a little bit more and try and relay some of the responses to you. So that's going to be coming up if you're in everyday or in next week at some point, probably on Monday, maybe on Tuesday, depending at the end of summer league. And that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Pelicans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, I'm your host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter. And we'll be back with y'all on Monday to recap Summer League. Got a guest or two lined up. It's going to be a fun next couple of weeks before we hit the real dead part of the summer. So make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Become an everydayer so you don't miss any of those episodes because we got some good stuff coming towards you. And I'll see y'all on Monday.